Presentation and a discussion on amending the current town code to address large industrial users to the wastewater treatment plant and the potential development really of an industrial use agreement for such large users. Art Patron, I'm going to hand it on to you.
All right, so we're going to get right into it. As we've done in the past, in my 6 years here, I know Josh has done a great job with it, trying to update our very outdated code. And with some big companies coming into town, now it's time to look at some sanitary sewer codes that we need to really reflect on. So we'll do a little background, little facts. So the connection fees to the town is based on one unit, and that's the EDU, which is the equivalent dwelling unit. That is the equivalent of 60,000 gallons of water a year, and that is used for single-family home, multiple-family home. It comes into play with commercial and industrial, although we look at those numbers a little bit differently. We look at those with consumption. So we'll go over to code 257-166, connection fees. The connection fee for the town of Webster, it's been pretty steady for a while at $1,000. And again, that's a one family dwelling or multiple family dwelling, although that may shift a little bit. But again, it's, for simplest terms, that's for one house. As we go down to item B, the connection fee for commercial and industrial users, and this is what we're talking about amending. That is based on water consumption, and of the previous 12 months for new industry coming in, the sewer department develops comparables, if you will, and we base the connection fee off of that. Again, 600,000 gallons equals $1,000. That makes any sense to you.
Did you just say 600,000 gallons?
60,000, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. So item C, if an existing commercial or industrial facility opts to tie in, have another tie-in, again, another connection fee will be assessed at that point. If it's a new flow, we will go through the same math, how much flow is going to be going through there, and drive it back down to how many EDUs of flow through that pipe. So currently at the wastewater treatment facility, the utilization is about 15,000 residential, 2,000 commercial industrial. As we look at adding quote Fairlife, that will add another 9,000 commercial industrial.
Actually 12.
12. Well, that's right, it's 12,000. We did.
Art, I think you have a.
Hold on, I think I did too.
I think the PowerPoint should be behind us.
Oops.
No. Did you screw me?
I am so
Oh,
glad
there it
this
is.
happened. Can I tell you why?
Yes, you got
Go back to the first presentation tonight about herding cats and things changing by the fly
Yeah.
and whatever. Coke Forever was telling us they do 1.5 million gallons a day, and that's what we were to build around and what cost estimates. And sometime around September, they slid into a meeting with our whoever that it's 2 million gallons a day. And so wait a minute, we were at 1.5 million and whatever. And they're, okay, well, what's the difference of 500,000 gallons a day amongst friends? And the difference is, instead of 9,000 EDUs a year, it's 12,000. So,
Yeah.
those are the type of things, when they slip through the cracks, can be disastrous.
Absolutely.
So, that was not set up and choreographed, and we
No.
had the wrong presentation. Actually, the presentation that we started to put together was pulled from the old notes of Coke and their engineers on 1.5 million gallons a day, which they superseded in September.
They did, so sorry about that error.
No,
So-
it's perfect that it came up.
That's right. So we'll go back to that. So really with Coke Fairlife, we're going to have 14,000 EDUs, commercial industrial, and 15,000 residential. obviously it just increases exponentially, and the plant and the conveyance pipe need to keep up with that. So the need for the town code amendment that we talked about in 2024. Currently, the entrance fee is a one-time fee of $1,000 per 60,000 gallons annually. You can see our entrance fee revenue from 2019 to 2023. Again, this is really, a lot of it is based on residential, quite honestly. The estimated flow from Code Fairlife will be 2 million gallons a day, and which is 12,000 EDUs, equating to $12 million one-time entrance fee, which is great, right? A lot of money. However, that 12,000 EDUs will create a major need for infrastructure updates, costing well over $12 million, and that's the need for this code amendment to help offset and cover those costs. I think it's an opportune time. Like I said, we as a town have updated many other codes, and I think Jennifer, you had said that as Xerox builds out, we may see a little bit more of this.
Yes, very possible. And I think that's it, right? Because then the next is a question. Pretty good, right? Did that lickety split?
And again, it's important to let everyone know that Coca-Cola does know this is coming. It's not something that we're doing, what is it, Charlie, not good time?
No, ex post facto.
Ex post facto? I'll get that lightning right one of these days. And they have been in agreement with us doing this.
Yes.
I do have one question. When you talk about, and it's funny because I talked to Denise about this a few years ago, and water in, water out is how we look at charging for sewer. If you were to look at the industrial user with water consumption for the previous 12 months or estimated water consumption, how accurate is that with Fairlife? Because they're bringing in all those trucks of milk, which is really what they're processing.
Yeah, so that's a great point. So they will not be bringing in through the water meter
Right.
as much as they're discharging. So the majority of their water or discharge will be from the mill. And we will have a flow meter on their site that will measure. It's already been agreed to. They're more than willing to put anything that we want with calibration, timelines, everything.
Thank you.
And it's, Patty, I'm glad you brought that up because really the lack of a large industrial user in the town sewer plant. Somebody said to me, well, how did we handle Xerox years ago? Well, Xerox goes to the village. The majority of the village, Xerox goes to the village.
Yeah.
You know that,
Yeah.
Mayor. I think at the time.
Majority of the
Mayor was
revenue
like
for the sewage treatment plant comes from Xerox.
Right, 4,000 EDUs a year.
Yeah.
And I want to say that the town, part of Xerox that's in the town, we're about 600 EDUs a year.
That's correct. And we still, on a monthly basis, receive readings from them.
Right,
For their,
but it seems like over the years, as an industrial, really hasn't been much industry, but commercial, when they come into town, you're figuring out one-time fees by, okay, well, let's see what water they put into the system. These large users like Coke are saying, hey man, we're coming in and building this huge plant and we're gonna need you to be able to handle 12,000 EDUs a year. They're telling us up front and showing how they're building a plan to push that kind of sewage. That's what this code amendment is about. Somebody coming on, Jen, like you said, at the Xerox campus, buying 80 acres off of them, who's, whatever their industry is, and they work with the town and say, we're building a plant here if you guys approve it, and it's gonna push 4,000 EDUs into the system. That is what this amendment is about. I don't really blame the code writers 60 years ago for not writing this in. I do like the first page of the code of the Part A, because I think it really just sticks right there. Now, if you built your house prior to August 1st, 1960, you're exempt. That's 64 years ago, all right? That's our code. So I don't blame anybody for 64 years ago not envisioning a monster industry coming into town. It's incumbent on us now, and Charlie, I know you're looking down like, oh my God, because you and probably Jeff Storch at Harris Beach, Paul, you'll be very instrumental in this. We need to get this amendment verbiage constructed, the draft of it, and get it to public hearing and discernment and adoption relatively quickly. Because go back to Michael at Costage's last presentation in the timeline of the conveyance pipe. Once we know what the bids come in on the conveyance pipe, it's pretty, I bet you, Paul, that we will be able to say to Coke, do you see any reason why this isn't the number for what Coke owes for us increasing the capacity of the sewer plant? And this is what Coke owes for the specificity of the conveyance pipe. When you add up those two numbers, I'm going to tell you it's going to come up way more than $12 million. And that's why we can't collect a one-time fee from them, because their specific need for the town's infrastructure to be improved is probably double that. I'm going to guess the number's $24 million. Now Charlie and Paul, the Coke attorneys, the Coke finance people, the Coke engineers, all the way along for almost a year, well, not a year now, but since probably June, July after they, 23, they are well aware that they're paying for this infrastructure. They are working with us on getting the specific number. And I think we're close. And it's going to be $24 million. It's going to be double the $12 million. Now it's how you codify that and collect it. We don't have anything in our code to do that right now. So that's all I got to say about that.
Thanks, Art.
Jen?
Well, I was gonna ask that question when you said it was gonna cost well over 12 million. I was gonna ask what was well over 12 million, and you've answered that question. So Coke has to bear the cost of the $24 million. They don't pay the 12, and the town pays the other 12, or
Well,
do we pay the
all
other
things
12?
being equal, it's the town's infrastructure.
Mhm.
The town is most likely going to have to bond and go in debt on municipal bonds, bans, whatever, for this infrastructure improvements. Because Coke is not eligible for municipal bonds. They're not a municipality. It's not their infrastructure, it's ours. But they understand that why would we go and build this infrastructure and have the taxpayers of the town pay the principal and interest on that bond when it's specific to them? And Charlie, you got to admit, Paul, you got to admit, they've been gentlemen and ladies all the way along. They're like, we totally get it. We totally get it. So if you can't get us a municipal bond, well, how do we pay for it? We're anxious to pay for it. I have no reason to think that they are going to change their tune on that. And if they did in the next couple of months, I mean, I'll just say it out loud. I mean, well, our leverage is okay. We're not building the pipe. It's pretty simple. We're not building the expanded plant. It'll never come to that. It won't. So, the time is right now to do this. Because really back in July and August last year, we were so up to our ankles or whatever in alligators on this project, and go back to the original presentation tonight and the herding cats and a lot of stuff going on in parallel, this and that. That was seeker planning all this stuff. We didn't even know if this project was going to happen. If we didn't get through that process, this doesn't happen. So we're not gonna spend a lot of time back in August, September, October on getting the specific amount of money for the upgrade of the plant and the specific cost of the conveyance pipe, because it might not happen. Coke might not come to town. Once we got through that process, and it's like, guess what? It was around December 1st. They broke ground. They started pushing dirt. Then it got real. Then, did you notice, Art, that all of a sudden they got much more attentive about, let's really sit down and hammer out how much of the wastewater treatment plant is our cost to increase the size. And they certainly wanted Mike Ritchie and Kosich to move along on the conveyance pipes. And that's what's happened really in the last 3 months. And I'm glad it's happened, and we're moving very quickly to getting the actual number. And there's no question the actual number between the conveyance pipe of around 7 million and the plant upsize of about 7, it's 24 million bucks, give or take. Well over 12 million. This code doesn't work for the citizens, for the town. So we're going to change it, right, Charlie? Or amend it. You sit there and go, you got a lot of work to do.
We've been working on it.
Yes, I know. So,
No need to amend the other 2 sections, paragraph A or C, while you're at it?
I think the, if I recall, didn't the general code suggest we do basically a whole new article or chapter on this?
I think we definitely want to look at pieces of it, the 1960, we might update, and I think we got some notes, and Denise has made some notes along the way, where we can.
I mean, this is the old, whatever number it was.
Yeah.
They just reconfigured it and just, we had an overall change in the code, but it was, some of it was cosmetic, a lot of it was just they reordered things a couple of years back, so.
Right.
But yes, it's good, there's going to be some amendments.
Okay.
you know what I was very surprised about, Jen? You know that the code book, you know, I think it's a great visual, although it's online now. That's the code book, okay? What you see on that screen is all the verbiage pertaining to this. I assumed that the code, we were looking at 10 pages of code on this sewer fee thing. What you have on the screen is everything pertaining to this. To me, go ahead, change A, change C, but A is residential, it works still. You're a developer, you want to build 50 houses, every one of those houses, as they tie into our sewer system, there's $1,000 that come to the town. Now, the town board every year can change the fee schedule, and we do, right?
Yes.
And if we said, you know, we should change that to $1,200. I don't know what the fee schedule was for the tie-in fee back in 1970, 1980, 1990, and really to tell you the truth, I don't care. I just know that the fee schedule, since I've been supervisor, it's been $1,000 per EDU when you initially tie into the system. And the theory is, you're not going to create any infrastructure change needs by one EDU coming into a system that's handling 17,000. We'll take the money, we'll put it in the sewer reserve, and for maintenance of the collection system and pump stations and mains, and any ongoing asset renewal at the plant. When you have somebody come along with 12,000 EDUs, then you're going to have to make infrastructure changes. So A is about homes, and I can't imagine anything, because most of the development in this town has already happened. I can assure you that the last 30 years, how many single-family houses have tied into this system at $1,000 per, there's more of them in the last 30 years than will be in the next 30 years. We don't have the land left.
Got
We
it.
should make all the green space people very happy. So A, the only thing I'd say is it's kind of funny that 1960, somebody would have had to own their home for 64 years for that to still be pertinent. C, I can see having tentacles because it's off of a commercial industrial user. And if they do expand, what do you say in C? CB? Potentially. I'll let the people brighter than me that are on the attorney side draft that. Ginny?
About 12 million one time, in trophy and everything, does, with the estimated 24 million, does Coke Valley understand a contract with us, or just verbally, gentlemanly, this is going to be?
We will never have a verbal gentlemanly lady thing on this. We will have something off of this code amendment will spawn either a vehicle, a legal vehicle, I call it, an industrial use agreement, or I know that we had a meeting with the attorneys the other day, and those are always fun, and they were bantering around different things, a separate contract instead of an industrial use agreement. So you can call it anything you want. Somebody with signing authority of code has to sign that these are the terms and we're agreeing to pay this, and somebody from the town with signing authority needs to sign. It's a contract. There will not be a handshake verbal agreement. I just don't know what that contract will be in the form of, an industrial use agreement that spawns off this amended code, or something else.